Very special guest here, former Hurricane Darrin Smith, Hall of Famer. Darrin, congratulations. This is certainly a huge accomplishment with everything that you did in college, and we'll get into your NFL stuff too. But just what's it been like being there and getting that induction? What's it been like?
Man, this has been incredible. It's definitely everything has been first class, but it's been humbling as well. Just to be around all of these great players who have played. Many who played before me and coached before me, and some after me. But just the names and the people who you meet and you see. To go into class with a group like Mike Strahan and Michael Vick and Coach Saban and Coach Urban Myers, and just to name a few. It's just been incredible.
Looking back when you got that call, what do you remember about that? Your reaction? Just can you kind of walk me back on finding the big news?
It's funny. I was actually the way that they kind of let you know is they said that you'll receive a package. It was the thing is you would receive the package. It would come to your house. You would open it, and inside it was a football, and it was painted with your congratulations, you've been selected. Now, for me, I thought it was a package for my wife, because my wife, she does a lot of Amazon and stuff like that. So I remember leaving that day, and I saw the package on my front patio, and I put it in the house for her. I took my mom to a doctor's appointment, and maybe that day they were supposed to announce at 2:00 on ESPN the finalists, those who were being inducted. Well, I got a text probably about 1:50. Someone said congratulations, and it was someone from the University of Miami, and I was like, congratulations about, I was like really confused. Congratulations about what? And so I texted them back. I said, congratulations about what? And that's when they called and told me, at 2:00 you're gonna be named as one of the inductees for the Hall of Fame. And so unfortunately, I was at a doctor's office, so I couldn't get to a TV and see it, but it still worked out just the same. And actually, text. I got a text from Ed Reed text me, and then Russell Maryland called me. Some of the former guys from Miami, Jimmy Johnson reached out to me. All this was happening like within minutes, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So, just to get the call from my family, my guys, my teammates, it was really special for me.
What's this been like? I assume, kind of, as you're thinking back on memories of your career, things you were able to do as you kind of been discussing it, I'm sure, with this announcement. What's it been like, kind of going back and kind of thinking back on some of the things you were able to do? And are there things that stand out to you the most when you think about your time at Miami?
When I think about my time in Miami, the greatest thing that stands out to me is my teammates and my coaches. Those guys, I know for sure I wouldn't be here at this point in my life winning this type of award as far as a Hall of Fame and recognition without those guys. Jimmy Johnson was the guy that signed me to come to the University of Miami, where I was able to live out my dream and become a Hurricane, something I wanted to do ever since I was a little boy growing up in Miami. To have the opportunity to run out of the smoke at the Orange Bowl was just a dream come true for me. But then to be surrounded by, great teammates who motivated me, who pushed me, guys like Bernard Clark and Maurice Crum, Michael Barrow and Jesse Armstead, those guys made me want to be the best player that I could be. And to have guys in front of me, man, like a Cortez Kennedy and a Russell Maryland and Mark Caesar and Rusty Madere, all those guys, I can go on and on about the guys in front of me and surrounding me, that I know the reason why I'm here is because of those guys.
Darrin, I'm fascinated with this, and hopefully you can shed some light on this. Player development, we focus on so much of that as a recruit and kind of going to UM and then obviously into the NFL. I'm curious about your own personal development or player development. Was there something in particular that you really, if you look back on your career and everything you're able to do, and I didn't even mention everything you're able to do. Two-time national champion, fifth all-time in tackles at Miami, over 400 tackles, became a second-round pick, the 12-year NFL career, two-time Super Bowl champion. I could go on and on. But Darrin, is there something that you can look back to in your younger days, either something that you felt player development-wise that really stood out or really helped kind of vault yourself into all the success that you had?
It's weird because personally, I never thought I was that good. Like people would tell me, man, you're good, or you're this or you're that. And I didn't see it in myself. And when I was in high school, I went to Miami Northern Senior High School. And when I got to high school, at that time, high school was just 10th, 11th, and 12th. So when you got into the 10th grade, you were playing JV football. And I remember telling my coach, and they didn't know me. I played linebacker, but at the time they put me on the offensive line. And so I kind of got stuck on the offensive line. And when I became a junior, I still played offensive line, and I was begging to get opportunity to play linebacker. And Coach Lewis Allen, who was the head coach there, he finally gave me an opportunity to play linebacker there. And I ended up being defensive player of the game. I remember to this day, we were playing Miami Springs, and I was the defensive player of the game. And they let me play linebacker from then on, but I had to play both ways. So I was a linebacker, and I was wearing number 63. I had an offensive lineman's number. But, when I look back and I see, and I think about like, wow, when I look at that and I see that if I was stuck on the offensive line, the opportunity to go to Miami probably wouldn't have happened. The national championships wouldn't have happened. The Super Bowls and the NFL career wouldn't have happened. So I think, really having the determination to keep working and getting better, and really preparing for an opportunity. Jimmy Johnson used to tell us, he used to say that success is when opportunity meets preparation. And I never forgot that. And so I always tried to prepare, even if I wasn't in the position that I wanted to be in at the time. I would always try to prepare for the opportunity, to be in that position when it came. And so, and when I got to University of Miami, I came a long way because I still was shocked that they gave me a scholarship. I think the biggest thing with Miami was Jimmy Johnson loved speed. And I ran track in high school as well. I probably was the fastest offensive lineman in Dade County because I actually ran like a 10.7 in 100 meters. And so Jimmy coveted speed. And, at that time, his philosophy was to take DB high school players and make them linebackers in college, and take high school linebackers in college and put them at defensive end and just kind of fill it in with the big guys. And so I kind of fit the bill for him as far as what he was looking for in the, in ability. And then when I got there, coaches like Dave Wanstead, Randy Shannon came back and he coached us a lot at linebacker as well. So I had some awesome coaches. But again, man, I got to give a lot of credit to my teammates. I learned a lot from Bernard Clark. I learned a lot from Maurice Crum, and Michael Barrow, Jesse. And those guys really helped push me to become better and learn the game.
Linebacker, you obviously played with great ones and kind of all through your career, and just the linebacker position in general. I'm curious how you watch a game now, watching football now. When you're identifying linebackers or quality linebackers, what's the thing? I'm sure you could go on and on about what makes a quality linebacker, but can you kind of summarize maybe a little bit what you see, what's important? What does the linebacker have to do to have success, especially this day and age now?
Wow. It's actually so different now than when I played. And I kind of played during the transition. I played in the NFL in the early 90s where they still had fullbacks. Offense was still running the power, still running the lead. I played with Moose Johnson, one of the toughest fullbacks that ever played the game. And probably toward the end of my career, I started seeing how, the formation started changing. They started having more receivers, more spread offense. But for me, the linebacker, and I coach now. I coach high school. I'm a linebacker coach at Chaminade Madonna in Hollywood, Florida. And so when I see those guys, and I really expect you to really understand the game. I want you to be smart. So now I need you to be physical as well. So that's always a big part of being a linebacker, because we're hitting almost every play. But, really understanding the game, understanding formations. And it was something that I really didn't learn until I got until I got to the University of Miami. I didn't understand how to read formations, understanding, what can come to me before it actually happened. So I try to teach the guys who I work with. I really try to get them to be smart, and I think a smart linebacker will go a long way in this game because now you understand personnel, now you understand formation, and I kind of watch the game like that. I'm not just watching the ball. I'm looking at formation. I'm looking at what offenses are doing, what key players are they trying to use to take advantage of the defense, and so I kind of watch it always from a coach's perspective now.
That's going to be a good transition into this year's Hurricanes. They make the college football playoff. I'm curious your take on their defense in particular. What stands out to you? What do you think about what they've been able to do? And if you could touch on the linebacker position in general, with what Miami's doing this season, what's been like kind of watching them play this year on defense?
It's actually been fun. Clearly, what stands out is that front four to me. I look back at that front four, I was like, man, see, this is a linebacker's dream, having guys like that who on the edges, you're able to put the pressure, but you have two guys in the middle who understand their role and they're trying to take the pressure off of the linebackers and allow them to run. And I think that's why a guy like Basaint is able to run around and make plays. And I like the linebacker group that they have now. And I can see them growing each week. But also what stands out to me is that, man, Miami's their safeties, man. Those guys are playmakers. They seem like they jump out every game. To me, and I could tell that a lot of it is their preparation. They have a lot of ability, but I can see they have a lot of preparation that goes into them making plays because it's not always easy to make plays. A lot of times you could be a player, you make the tackle, and you do your job. But these guys are actually making sacks. I see them blitzing. I see them getting sacks. I see them making interceptions. And so I think our secondary play has really what enabled our defense to be so much better this year.
Certainly, when he said this year, yeah, definitely changes compared to how things went for the whole team and defense last year. Maybe if you could kind of getting into your mind a little bit here too, kind of mixing in the coaching with all your expertise at the linebacker position. Miami's going to play Texas A&M, dual threat quarterback in Marcel Reed. What's the key for linebackers for the defense to be able to kind of contain and when you're facing for yourself when you faced a mobile quarterback that could also throw it and throw it well? What's kind of the key in being able to kind of slow down what a quarterback's able to do when they're able to do both?
Yeah, the tough part is going to be you're going to have a controlled rush when you attack him. It's not going to be an all out relentless just attacking type of rush because he's the type of quarterback who can find the cracks, and when he find a crack, man, he can make it happen. So it's going to be where the ends may not be able to get as far up the field as they have in the past. So they're going to have to reach the point where they're maybe equal to the quarterback and then come back under. So the thing is, you're going to have to try to control the lanes against a quarterback like this. So it means that the defensive line may have to keep it tighter, and not have as much of a free rush. But to keep a guy like this quarterback in the pocket is probably going to be more important than maybe being able to free rush and get after him because he can make things happen with his feet as well as his arm. And so that's going to require probably a little bit more coverage. Guys locking on the receivers a little longer and being able to, keep their eyes on these guys and not allow them to run free. Because I noticed some plays because the quarterback is able to extend the play. I mean, we had a quarterback like that last year, right? Who can extend the play and the wide receivers are able to make adjustments. And that's how our offense made a lot of big plays last year, because we had a quarterback who can extend the play, receivers get open and find open spots. And so that's going to make it tougher on the defense, but it's all going to start up front.
As I mentioned earlier, all the big games you played in over your career, I touched on the championship ones, but a lot of big games all the way through your career, big games all over the place. The Hurricanes are getting ready to, playing in the playoffs here. I'm curious, what was your process when you were in the playoff, when you were in high level bowl game, high stakes games? What was something that really you felt like helped you play at your best in big games? What was kind of your process that you remember?
Well, I think part of it was we had so much experience in big games that it became a little bit more normal. We would try not to treat a big game too big. You understand what I'm saying? Like we try to keep it more normal, try to keep your same preparation, try to keep your same focus, not get overhyped, not get over not to make it bigger than what it really is. It's still the football field is going to be the same size. But now the pressure will be on because of expectations, and we always had high expectations for ourselves, but the expectations are going to be high for this group. But I think you got to learn how to stay within yourself and understand your role, because you could try to do too much and end up playing outside of yourself and possibly causing more harm than good. So I mean, there's a reason why they're in this position, and there was a reason why we were in a lot of big games, because the way we prepare and got ourselves ready each week is what helped us get there. So we got to continue to do those same things.
Last thing here. So I'm going to look at if Miami beats Texas A&M, they're going to the Cotton Bowl. The Hurricanes have only played in the Cotton Bowl one time. It was that 1991 game against Texas, 46-3 win. People's any memories that you want to share from that one and what stands out? I'm sure again, if Miami wins, that's where they'll play Ohio State in the bracket. So that will come up, I'm sure. Anything you can kind of leave us on, Darrin, from that game?
It's so many things from that game. Just to give you a little, just like a little insight, because it was a bowl game, and we would have to do a lot of bowl activities that week. And I remember we had to go to a barbecue, and the barbecue was with the other team, and it was Texas. And so they were on one side, we were on the other side, and it was at this big restaurant, and there was a band playing. And so the band took a break. And I remember, man, some of our guys went up on that stage and they picked up the instruments and they started just singing and making noise. And when I looked over at Texas, I knew they were done. I could see they were intimidated just from the attitude and just the way that they saw that the way that we kind of just took control of the situation. I think they were intimidated from that point on. And so when we played them, and I think a guy like what's the guy, Stan Thomas, tried to come out. He's an offensive lineman. He was saying how, they're gonna beat us. And we had the great Russell Maryland. I think Russell had like three sacks against that guy. But I always remember it because I actually had a pretty big play that game. I took a interception back for a touchdown that game, but I remember us just going out there and playing relaxed and playing free. Now we had a lot of penalties that game, and maybe a little bit too free, but we wanted to really dominate them, and we wanted to really, really make them feel like they didn't belong on the field with us. And so, and I think we did a pretty good job of that. We made a lot of big plays, and we played, and they were pretty good offense that year, but our defense was all over the place that game.
Yeah, no doubt. Darrin, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to doing this, and congratulations once again. A huge honor, definitely well deserving. So thanks again. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.